Views and opinions expressed within the following program are solely those of the individual. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Shaw TV.
Hey Calgary, I'm Kevin Chorney. It's January 16th, and this is Calgary Now. So video games have gone from the intellectual pastime of professors and students in the world's top universities to the casual entertainment for anyone connected to a TV, smartphone, or computer. From the popular arcade game Pong to consoles made by Atari, the handheld Game Boy, Nintendo, Sega, and now PlayStation, Xbox, Wii, and everything in between, the popularity of video games has grown from an offshoot media to a multi-billion-dollar industry. And it's beginning to eclipse even movies and music. Much like television, video games and those who play them have had their fair share of criticisms, targeting the apparent social isolation and negative impact it may have on users. Yet, the sophistication of games being designed and the multitude of uses gaming has for educators and businesses, along with the entertainment factor, has ensured the continued success and evolution of video games. So what's next? And what kind of impact will video games have on the generations that are growing up with gaming already entrenched in their everyday lives? If, like most people, you're into technology and particularly gaming, this is a really cool time to be alive. Think about just a few of our options today. Right now, you have the ability to go bowling with your family in your living room or play chess against someone across the globe from your smartphone. You can team up with thousands of others and traverse and conquest vast digital worlds in real time from your computer. If you can dream it, chances are a video game of some shape or form has been designed for it. As hardware becomes more powerful and affordable, how we keep entertained, how we learn, and how we communicate are sure to expand, at least in the digital realm. My guest and I are talking all things video games in just a few moments here. Throw us your 2 cents on Twitter at Calgary Now Show. But first up, let's check out the Rant Pack.
I think video games these days and the technological evolution was pretty much an inevitability, considering the first video game system I bought with my paper route money many years ago was a regular Nintendo, and it was a good entertainment outlet, but it wasn't necessarily the all-in-depth involvement of today's video games. I believe that as long as you can control it and don't become addicted to anything, I think it's a fine outlet for you to spend some time and some free money and some free time.
Hey Calgary, thanks for joining us. Tonight, we're happy to have Katrine Becker, president of Mink Hollow Media, writer-artist Shauna White, and podcast host Nathan Rohr. Thanks very much, guys, for being here. Katrine, I'll get you to tell us briefly about yourself and what you represent.
Well, I have been an instructor at university for most of my adult career, and about 10 or so years ago, I started researching video games, and what I do now is develop educational games and do analysis of games.
Super cool, super cool. Thanks for being here.
Fun.
Nathan, how about yourself?
Well, as far as games go, I've been playing them since I was like 4. So it just kind of got to a point where I'm playing them so much, I should probably do something with all those thoughts and ideas. Team up with some friends, start talking on a podcast on the internet, and now there's 2, and it's just,
that's wicked.
All sorts of
It's moving along nicely, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
Shauna.
I'm a writer and an artist. I do a lot of sales at the Calgary and Edmonton Expos, and a lot of what I do is actually based off of video game characters, kind of merging semi-realism in with it, and get phenomenal reactions from people on it.
Oh yeah, there's no question. People are very excited about gaming, I think now more so than ever, which begs the question, why are video games so popular these days?
Because they're fun.
Because they're fun?
It takes a fantasy world and it allows you to really explore it. So you get to live a life you really don't get to when you've got your 9-to-5 job. You go in and you sit at a computer all day and just kind of type.
For me, a big part of it is downtime.
Yeah.
It's like escapism and fantasy, and casts you in the starring role of all sorts of crazy adventures or different kind of stuff now. Like there's all sorts of different worlds opening up.
Things you'll never be able to experience in real
life.
life.
But it's also getting to the point where it's thought-provoking, isn't it? It's no longer just mashing buttons and killing a few hours.
I mean, there's real storylines going on nowadays with games.
I think they really
Especially
have
in
to bring
recent
storylines.
years. Yeah. Like, well, I don't know if like it's fair to give all the credit to like this indie game movement that's been happening over the last like 5-6 years specifically, but there's definitely been a lot more small scale personal stories being expressed, and that's been really cool to see. Like Indie Game the movie, if you've seen that documentary, they do a good job of. Oh, okay.
Brief synopsis, sure.
Brief synopsis, yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically covering like 3 major games: Super Meat Boy, Fez, and Jonathan Blow's Braid. Like, so they're talking to the creators of those, which are pretty popular indie games,
Okay.
and then also touching on just like Minecraft and all sorts of
Which is
big
wildly
sensations
popular, of
of
course.
recent years. Yeah.
So, do you think video games have bridged the gap in recent years? I mean, nowadays we've got young adults, well, I guess maybe not young adults, but young parents that can actually sit down and enjoy video games with their children. Has that maybe changed the household dynamics some?
I think in some ways it has brought us back to where we were before television, which is people used to play together of all different ages and all different generations in the home.
We have a ton of fun in my house because I've got a 4-year-old and a 9-year-old, and it's mostly my husband who sits down and plays video games with them all the time. But they get really ecstatic about them, and it's a really good quality time.
I'm trying to think. Like personally, like I did play Mario Brothers with my dad a lot growing up. So
there-
like there was a point where we were both on the same page as far as video games went, and then 3D happened, confused that generation for a bit, and now it's like just speaking from my personal little bubble. And now we're at a point where like everybody's catching up again, and we can like play again, like specifically with Minecraft and stuff or World of Warcraft.
I grew up programming my own games on the Commodore 64,
Yeah.
so you just made me feel really old.
Oh, wow. Is that right? Programming your own games?
Yeah, on the Commodore 64.
So
Yeah.
within your household, it's gaming culture, I guess it's through and through.
No, not really. My parents just kind of made it available for us as best they could, so we got a really good opportunity to get this Commodore 64, and then they give us these books that showed us how to do the programming, and then we'd program things like Pong and some other ones as well.
So is it the young generation that is begging, the old man to play, or is it
Yes.
vice versa, or is it both? I mean,
Yeah.
who's
My son
instigating?
will not let my husband go a day without playing Skylanders. So,
Is that right?
yes.
Yeah, that has been a weird like toy bridging with game sensation. Like put the
Oh,
toy
yeah.
on the thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird seeing that, but
And my
genius
daughter
business model.
comes home and plays Minecraft. So
Yeah, again, very popular game.
Yeah.
Game developers who kind of once seemed to target their product to, let's be honest, to guys, right? Guys in their 20s, maybe 30s, have sort of shifted their their marketing to more of a universal strategy. Are we finding, I guess we probably are we finding couples that can now enjoy games together? And maybe build even a bit of their, relationship on sharing that game experience?
Some of that has always been true. I mean, with online games and the massively multiplayer games.
Warcraft,
There
World
is
of
a
Warcraft
lot
comes to mind.
of discussion in the industry right now about, and has been going for several years, about the gender imbalance, both in games and the way they're marketed, and also in the industry itself.
Yeah. The past year.
And so I would say it hasn't really changed as much as people would like you to think it has. I mean, the balance between male and female gamers is about 50-50.
Wow.
But they play different kinds of games, by and large. And so
I think women are becoming a little bit more comfortable with being able to say, I love video games. So my husband actually just recently got me all addicted to Halo. So we've been playing Halo like crazy.
See, that's interesting. Like, I would think, you talk about different games for different genders. I would think Halo, a fairly aggressive game.
Yeah.
For our viewers that maybe aren't familiar, it's essentially a futuristic kind of war game, I suppose.
Male protagonist, and
Right.
that's kind of
And yet, you think we're seeing an influx of female gamers that are
It's
jumping on
becoming
board?
more socially acceptable for women to express themselves in less feminine ways. So I think so. Yeah. I know I have lots of friends who like to actually watch Halo, like their boyfriends play Halo, or actually play it themselves. So.
Like, there's been some high-profile examples in like 2013. Like, there was Tomb Raider got rebooted, and that's like Lara Croft as the main character as a female protagonist. I just finished playing that this morning.
Sure.
And that was kind of, and then Ellie was like a supporting character in The Last of Us, but like which was a very popular game from last year on PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
And that was kind of looked at as kind of like, well, this is industry moving forward. We got female characters like front and center, but it's also been kind of questions like, well, it's still like this violent game where like dudes shooting people.
see
And all this.
Peter biting your lip over there.
I'm hearing you tensing up over here.
What are you thinking?
Did you find it regressive? Or?
No, the Tomb Raider game
Yeah.
actually caused a really big splash because of the
that's
hypersexualization.
right.
And
Yeah,
there
they're
was a
in
lot
the
of talk
marketing.
about the rape culture attitude of the way that she was
At
portrayed.
some point, it's
and-
evoking like I spit on your grave or something. Like the kind of I think
yeah,
I'm playing
so
it. It's
there
like
were-
you were fighting a lot of people.
I mean, it's certainly an ongoing struggle, and this is not something that's unique to video games by no means.
No,
You
no,
see
no.
it in the entertainment industry at large.
Yeah.